Okay, the next part. So why particularly this wolfberry from this Ningxia province? Okay, so first and foremost, right, the province of Ningxia in China is actually known as a place where the most number of centenarians live. So centenarians are basically folks that live past 100 years old, and the ones in China are really very healthy. Like, I mean, I've seen photos of those who are like 101, 109, and they look super healthy, very youthful as well, wrinkled up, but very youthful, strong teeth, great skin, and so on. So the story was that for Gary Young, 20 years ago, he went to China because he was so intrigued to find out what kind of food helps people to reverse aging, slow down aging, and to also protect our body from, from the effects of aging as well, like free radicals, for example. So he went to the province of Ningxia and he noticed that there are so many old people around and amazing, they are living past 100 years old. Something that you cannot really say that about Americans actually. So he asked them like, what's in your diet or what do you do to have such longevity? And at that time, right, because it is a province that is also very centered on agriculture. So they were like showing him, they point to this plant. At that time, the Ningxia blueberry plant grew in the wild. Like it was growing in the wild. They just basically, the locals there, just go there, pluck it, make tea with the berry or put it in the soup and just take it as part of their daily regime. So they say that that actually helps them to keep young and to live long lives. Gary was so fascinated by it that he actually smuggled some back to America to start the research on it. Now, when he tried to bring it back, okay, not smuggled back, but he was trying to bring it back. The interesting thing was that he tried for 7 years. So for the first 7 years, the first 6 years, right, when he brought it back, they were being confiscated because the American custom didn't know what this weird, strange berry is about. They thought there was some strange thing and they chose to confiscate it. On the 7th year, Gary Young managed to bring it through. And the custom did say that, what is this exotic fruit or berry? They have never seen the wolfberries before during that time. So he brought it back, he did all kinds of research, and then he went, oh my God, this is such a powerhouse of nutrients. And that is also why right now we have the drink Ningxia Red, which comes from the pulp, the flesh, the skin, the seeds of the wolfberry. Okay. So why this particular wolfberry? Yeah. Okay. In Ningxia, right, it is so celebrated for having different therapeutic like herbs and whatsoever. The main one is still the wolfberry, and that's also where they've gotten the illustrious Green Certificate Award. Okay, this is an award that is recognized in China. If you ask me what's the equivalent, it is equivalent to the USDA Organic Certificate. Okay, so in the climate of Ningxia, right, what happens is that it is a cooler country. You can also say it's a cold country. The temperature difference varies quite a fair bit because in the daytime it can get really warm, but at nighttime the temperature drops significantly. So what happens is that when you have a wide difference in temperature, a drastic change in temperature from day and night, what it does to the plants living in Ningxia is that it actually gets them to circulate better. It's like imagine that the sap of the plants, like the blood in our bodies, right, is really circulating. And when you have the life force, the sap of this wolfberry plant circulating really well, what it does is that it is taking the nutrients from the water, from the soil, and really pushing it through to the stems, the stalks, the leaves, and also the wolfberry too. So the climate, the change in temperature plays a big part for why this fruit is so chock full with such amazing nutrients and properties. Now, the last thing is actually the Yellow River. The Yellow River, you probably heard of it if you watched some Chinese drama, you heard about the Yellow River or read about it in like those Chinese novels, right? Okay, this is super fascinating. This plant, right, is set at the foothill of the Banya Mountains. But if you trace to where they get their water source from, right, it's actually part of the Yellow River. Because what happened is that right at the top of the mountains in Ningxia, I think right at top, I think towards the Himalayas, there's a glacier meltdown. So the snow was falling, right? Then it melts down into pure water. It flows down the mountain, through the valleys, and then it goes into the Yellow River. Now, so what do you get? You actually get pristine water because first and foremost, these plants, right, are located in a place that is far away from the cities. So there is very little or zero pollution because they're getting the pure water from the glacier meltdown. Secondly is that because of where it's flowing through the mountains and the valleys and then into the Yellow River, the soil there is very rich with minerals. It is so rich that the reason why it's called the Yellow River is because it is filled, the minerals colored the river yellow. Okay, so you have the pristine water, you have the rich minerals and nutrients from the soil, all flowing all the way down to the foothill of the Banya mountain to where this plant sits at. So this is also why when they look at the nutritional value, the nutrients rating, like the amino acids, the vitamins, the minerals in this little wolfberry, it is remarkably high compared to the other wolfberry plants out there, compared to the other over 80 species out there in the world. This is the reason why, because of the location itself, which I was so excited when I read this and I was like, wow, this is something that I must share. Because one of the questions I've always wondered is that what's the difference between the one that we have in our Ningxia red drink and the one that we actually have in from the Chinese medical halls, like those traditional Chinese medicine shops that they sell the dried wolfberry. So this one literally answered my question. And what I did was that if you have seen my Facebook or IG posts, I've actually taken a photo of both the usual wolfberries and the ones from Ningxia. You notice that the ones from Ningxia, they are actually a lot bigger. They were like twice as big. They are vibrant red, even when it's dried. Whereas the ones from like whatever breeds that I could find in the TCM hall, right? They are also red, but I noticed that a lot of them were like a bit broken and that the redness is not like deep red. It wasn't like deep red, a rich red. It was a very pale kind of red. So when I look at the difference, I'm like thinking, wow, okay, there is really a difference in terms of even how they look as well. And I can imagine how the climate of Ningxia and how the glacier melt off and the rich nutrients from the Yellow River actually feeds into the wolfberry too.